Welcome back to another episode of Doing Philosophy. My focus is on epistemology as part of my lecture series on epistemology. We're just about we're up to the last philosopher now, so we're just about finished. We have Plato, Aristotle, and Descartes, who are rationalists. We have Locke and Berkeley, who are empiricists. And now we're going to talk about David Hume. And I want to say this: Locke and Berkeley are on top of empiricism. I'm using my sense experience to describe what I know, and they go on the surface. I experience the primary secondary qualities. I know that. They both agree on what they know. They disagree on the fundamental substance, things that are outside of experience. Locke wants to believe is matter, but he doesn't know empirically it's matter. Berkeley wants to believe it's superior mind, but he doesn't know empirically it's a superior mind. David Hume comes in, he doesn't have attachment. Locke is attached to science. Berkeley is attached to religion. Hume has no attachment. So his work begins, or is presented typically, as a critique of the other philosophers. He has no attachment. So against John Locke, his work is interpreted as saying that Locke's belief in matter is meaningless or nonsense, empirically meaningless or nonsense. At that time, the scientific community was getting a lot of respect and garnishing a lot of respect from many people in society. And they wanted to have the Catholic Church basically control the academic system as well. So they had to stay, look noble and respectful in many, many ways. David Hume came with his writing, and he's about 25 years old when he published his work. He comes and he just saying, bang, these scientists are making claims of realities made of matter, but this is nonsense. The scientific community at that time heard this man's philosophy and boom, they didn't like it. Not that it was false, but the truth hurt, and they didn't like that part. That the fact that you cannot experience matter was real problem for them. Okay, so David Hume, was shunned for being correct. On the other side of the fence are the religious folks who dominated and control most of society, most of the academic system. And for them, David Hume idea came off as saying that the belief in a superior mind, aka God, is nonsense, empirically meaningless. That's the fancy way to say it, empirically meaningless. The word nonsense today is emotionally loaded and very negative and derogatory. Empirically meaningless is a nice way to say it. It has no value empirically. See, even though the people of the church never claimed to empirically experience God directly, they still was upset with the philosopher who pointed out the logic of it, that you don't have experience of God directly. And so, boom, he was seen as an outsider, thought to be an atheist and shunned, right? David Hume wrote of when he published the work, Treatise on Human Nature. He said that when he first published his work, the intellectuals read it and everybody just dropped it. It was stillborn from the press. People didn't want it. He had to take the book, rewrite it, and to get more, people to read his work. The thing is, they were not shunning his work because it was so false. It's just the truth was too hard to take. Let me repeat myself. The true heart of empiricism was too hard to take. And this is the thing, Hume has the epitome of the understanding of empiricism. He has a clear understanding. And when you see it that clear, it is a little bit painful. It's a little bit painful. First of all, look what Hume discovered. When you're looking at objects in the world, all right, you look at objects in the world like Berkeley and Locke does, they made an error in their reasoning. We all experience primary, secondary qualities. We can't doubt that. We experience the shape, the color, and size of things. But Locke appealed to some kind of power. He said that the primary qualities have the power to produce the secondary qualities. Do you experience that? I raised for you my manila envelope. Do you experience its power to produce the melena, this color, yellow color inside of your mind? No, power is not empirical. You just see the object, Hume says. What power are you talking about? Please get this story right. I don't just memorize anything. What Hume is saying is that, and what the word empirical means, direct sense experience. I experience the shape of the cube, the color of the cube. To say that the cube is sending something in my eyes, that may be true. Let's be modern and scientific. That is true. Okay, let's be modern and scientists. But you don't experience this. It's a theoretical explanation. It's a theoretical construct. Let's be nice. In the modern time, light is traveling, has the information like Berkeley says. This is true, folks. What David Hume is saying is not empirical, and that is also true. What is true is the cube and the color. The theoretical explanation is something else. The pureness of empiricism is not before your eyes. Appeal to power is, at that time, it was, it maybe sound weird to appeal to power, something like that, but the issue is he's correct. The second thing, when we talk about the fundamental substance, right, Hume realized that if you can never experience that fundamental stuff with your senses, not me alone, like, for example, I wear glasses, sometimes I can't see at a distance, but if no human can experience something at a certain level, if the material gets so small, okay, you want to call it atoms, you should not make an empirical claim about it. You shouldn't say it's a fact. You shouldn't talk about it in using the empirical language, which is also true. And that was seen as a hostile response for David Hume. For a long time, maybe some people even today, they really think when I have a fact, I can see it all the way down to the atoms and molecules, things like that. That's why we have theoretical science. Theoretical science is what Hume is talking about. Theoretical science is theoretical science. It doesn't mean it's false. It just means you didn't use your senses to get to it. You use your logical reasoning. You use experience and use a lot of reason to get the further down. But during David Hume's time, that was seen as hostile. So basically, Hume said about fundamental substance, don't call it matter, don't call it superior mind, simply just don't talk about it empirically. Don't say, I know by experience what it is. Do not talk like that. It's all theoretical. Quantum theory is all a theoretical construct, a mathematical formulation. There's no experiential data about that. Doesn't mean the theory is false. It means you need the intellectual machinery to fully appreciate and understand it. During David Hume's time, theories are used, but they were not as appreciated, I would say, as they are today. So Hume's ideas were met with a certain amount of hostility, disbelief. You can't say he's wrong, but no one wants to hear the truth. As you go further into analysis of David Hume, people often discuss his skepticism. Hume is not a skeptic. Hume has a clear sense of empiricism. When it's applied correctly, it appears very skeptical. No, it's that a lot of people like to take a lot of theories to be facts when they're not. So I'm going to make honorable mention of these. I'm not going to dwell in detail about them. I'm just going to make honorable mention. He doubts the certainty of causation. Science is very keen about causation. Observe A, B, event A followed by event B, event A followed by event B. David Hume says, I enter the room, the lights are off, and I see the switch on the wall. All right. If I flip the switch, the light will turn on. Okay, A, B, right? But now I have not flipped the switch. Do I know for certain it's going to turn on? All I have my experiences, and I'm not experiencing the light on right now. I can't be certain it's going to turn on. No matter how many times I flip that switch in the past, I can't be certain that A, flipping the switch, is going to cause the event B, the light coming on. You can't see the future. This leads directly to the problem of making predictions, the problem of induction. You may have boiled the water 1,000 times, and you're looking at 1,001 times to boil it again, but you haven't boiled it, you're about to boil it. Do you know it's going to boil at 100 degrees? You can't be certain because you can't see the future. You could only see what is present. Pure empiricism is what we can see now. Now, let me be clear about this. It doesn't mean it's false. It means that you're using your intelligence in other ways to get to that truth. You're using your intelligence to understand causation, using intelligence to understand what's going to happen next with the water boiling. And I defend David Hume. Experience is experience. When you go beyond that experience, you're moving in another direction. It doesn't make it false. You're trusting another aspect of yourself. Remember how we looked at empirical knowledge in general, right? This is a battle with everyone trying to say there's only one form of knowledge. It's knowledge based on direct sense experience. This pattern does not really work. He doubts the existence of an external world of things independent of experience. This idea appeared in Berkeley, but also appears in Hume here. As I sit in the house, I say there is a Lamborghini in my driveway, but I cannot see the Lamborghini right now. Does the Lamborghini continue to exist? This statement here expresses the essence of empiricism as Hume sees it, and as I embrace the idea myself in my own philosophy, right? Empiricism is what I know right now. If I was out there early and I saw the Lamborghini, assuming I have one now, okay, and I come back in here right now, I can say, does it continue to exist? It may seem silly, but it's really saying that I'm trusting on my memory that the car still remains there, right? I'm not saying it got stolen or anything like that, but I'm trusting in my memory. Right now, all I have is what's in front of me right now. It doesn't mean it's false. Remember that one form of knowledge is memory. And I have so much confidence, and I have no reason why it would not be there. Therefore, in my regular talk, I would say the car is there, even though I'm not seeing it right now. When people have confusion in this, they are people who still trying to do the exact same thing, try to make everything true based on direct sense experience. And it is not true like that. David Hume is correct. His clear-mindedness captures empiricism in the right way, but when you do it, it seems extremely radical. How can I leave my car aside or walk inside the house and now I doubt it's out there? How could I do that? Oh, that's not, let me explain the theory in another way. We put it on another slide. All those question marks in front of you right now is the problem that Hume inherits. He inherits all these problems and he clears them up. This is a clear sense of what empiricism looks like. It could be matter. There could be a God back there, but I'm an empiricist. I can't even talk about anything underneath that. I'm not going to talk about the fundamental substance. I'm going to talk about what I experience. Once I give up the fundamental substance, I need to change the vocabulary. I cannot use the word qualities because qualities mean it's attached to something. I'll be driven to say it's a matter or it's a superior mind. So if I give up being able to empirically talk about the fundamental substance, I'm going to give up the word quality. And I'm also going to give up the idea that these qualities appear only in my mind. So what I'm left with is this picture that David Hume gives. And I think it's a very clear picture of what's happening. The world has objects in them. Let us call these objects impressions, all right? And it's using the word impressions in the way John Locke presented the empirical theory, which is a passive theory. You're sitting there and the world is affecting you passively, all right? Just like I'm having a sense experience right now, I'm seeing things, I'm hearing things, those things that go in my mind and they're forming. Empirical ideas form independent of my intelligence. I recognize these empirical ideas. I don't sit and think them through like when I'm reasoning as a form of knowledge. I'm logically, this truth implies this truth, implies this truth, implies this truth. Therefore, there's the conclusion. Aha, this is true. This is the answer. 9 times 9 is 81. That's reasoning. In empiricism, you don't do that. It's basically the brain, the mind, how you want to describe it, that's forming this thing. So the brain forms the empirical idea, just like I'm observing. We know that to be true because I demonstrated with the camera previously, and now I'm saying that's what happens with memory. It forms. All you do is recognizing these empirical ideas inside of you. And David Hume defined it precisely. And he writes, look, when I say empirical idea, I'm talking about the sort of thing that occurs with people who have photographic memories. This is in his writing. It's very clear. So his definition is very clear. An empirical idea is a faint copy of an impression. David Hume has a more complete model. He allows the external world to be whatever it is. Maybe it's made of matter, a superior mind, or maybe Thales water. It does not matter to him. All he knows for certain is that there is a golden cube out there, and there is, oh no, wait, there's no Lamborghini in my driveway, okay? That's a wishful thinking there, okay? That's for wishing, that's for another lecture. So when you look at things in the world, the things are there and you know those things. But when you begin to speculate what's beyond that, you've gone too far. And this is pure empirical knowledge, pure empiricism. It is not intellectual in the sense that you're thinking about them, but ideas form naturally. Now, once they form in you, now you can think with them. They're recorded in your memory and things of that nature. This is empiricism. Great. This kind of empiricism, of course, is hostile to many people. People in the science who want to take the theory on the same level. I don't do that. I used to do that. Of course, I'm part of the educational system. Now, as I formulate my own philosophy, I accept the philosophical sense of empiricism in the pure form, but I also understand the value and importance of good, well-articulated theories. They're on the same level for me. But if you don't have that, this is the model David Hume leaves us with. Experience of the external world. Call the objects just impressions. The impressions leave faint ideas. Notice in David Hume's model, there is no causal theory of perception. There is no invisible signal. If it's invisible, how do you know it's there? How do you know light is traveling and hitting you in the eyes? All you know, you see the thing and you have faint copies of it. This is what we have. I want somebody to deny this to be true. I'm a transcendental philosopher, so I focus on empiricism and for many years all by itself. So from my philosophical perspective, this theory is true beyond a shadow of a doubt. I don't have any problem with the theory, all right? I do have a problem with people who say that this is the only way to know things. That, my friend, is not true. So, and my theory at least. So to understand Hume, all right, understand that this is what he's presenting, and I do not see how you can think of it wrong. His definition of knowledge is very, very simple. You have knowledge of something if and only if it's true as a matter of fact. His notion, as a matter of fact, is like direct sense experience. It's like Locke's direct sense experience or Berkeley's direct experience of the ideas of X, because Locke is a metaphysical idealist, right? So I can know there's an apple on my table because I have direct, it's true as a matter of fact. That statement from I'm uttering is true as a matter of fact. I can experience it directly. But then he also recognized something within the language. If I say bachelors are unmarried men, that statement is true. Why? By the meaning of the words. If I say 9 times 9 is 81, that statement is true by the meaning of the words. It's the relations of ideas, you call them. So some things are logically true. And see, when I look at David Hume, I see the perfect setup for good science, in that you first clearly identify things as facts, and anything else, okay, they're theoretical or hypothetical notions. And if you took the fact and did some experiment, the result of the experiment is expressed in the language, and the language should not say more than the result than the result of the experiment itself. So the relations of ideas will be the language in which the scientific theory is expressed. Mathematical truths are expressed, and the facts are the facts. I do not think that that Hume should be seen as a skeptic. It's that true, pure empiricism presents you with a skeptical model. There are many things that people take to be facts. Water is H2O. Many people believe that to be a fact. No, it's not. It's a theoretical construct. The belief in Adam is a theoretical construct. We take our theories that are common sense or common belief from the educational system or common belief everywhere as facts. So facts are supposed to be that which is experienced by the 5 senses. But if we all believe something to be true in common sense, like water is composed of hydrogen, oxygen molecule, or since we all believe it, we take it to be a fact. No, it's a general truth we all accept, been validated by science, presented by science, and we take it to be true. It's a theoretical truth, though, and it's true, and it works. Every time we apply it in various situations, it works. So it is true. It's not the same as the fact of tasting the water, and you cannot taste any hydrogen, oxygen molecule. You just drink the water, it feels good. People confuse these two. They are different type of truth. The essence of what I've been presenting in epistemology leads me to that conclusion. There are different type of truths. And historically within Western philosophy, and I don't blame the people within the system, because remember that I'm in hindsight. All the geniuses have gone over this idea. They discovered and discussed by many other people over time. And I'm coming in hindsight. So in our time, we could appreciate all the work of these people and say, aha, all of these theories are good within their domain, and they are all equally useful today. The only problem that emerges is that in epistemology, the rationalists and the empiricists are still fighting for real. okay? They're still thinking that the only true knowledge must come from experience. But when they apply the experience model, they get to the Humean conclusion and they freak out. When they go to the other side, they go into the abstract sense, you may have wonderful theories about how things are designed and things of that nature, or your attitude towards them, like in Descartes' theory, but you miss out on the experience of the thing, the object itself. Right? They all have limits. So this concludes my work right now on the theories, the rationalist and the empiricist. And I want to argue that each of these theory definitions of knowledge actually work within their domain. We just given a summary understanding. I create a lot of visuals so you can actually visualize the theories without all the writing in the text.